Hi, I was asked by a few people on some of the forums who messaged me to see if I could do a review and a quick vid on this Android head unit. So here we are. I've not done any review videos at all, so if it's horrendous, no need to comment because I'll probably agree with you. Anyway, here we go. So the unit I bought in the end was the Eonon, I think that's how it's pronounced, GA2114. I'm not going to go through all the specs. You can have a look online on eonon.co.uk and have a look for the model, and all the specs are on there. It's a pretty well spec'd unit. I think it's something like a 1.6 or 1.8 quad core processor. Runs Android 4.4.4. I find the unit very good itself. In terms of its speed, I'd say it's pretty comparable to my Samsung Tab 4. In terms of the unit installation itself, you reuse the ears, the brackets from the existing head unit. My car is 2005 MR2 Roadster, or Spider if you're in America. Whip the old head unit out, reuse the brackets that are fitted to that, and screw it back in. The only thing I will say with that is the unit does extend forward a little bit by about 5mm. One day what I am going to do is get round to just drilling some different position holes on those standard brackets, just so it recesses back a little better. It is a standard double DIN, so if it's being fitted to a standard double DIN aperture in other cars, then it'll probably be fine. I know, for example, I've seen one in a Honda Integra, and that fits in there just fine with the adapter kit that you get for those. If you're fitting it in your MR2 and you're using the existing surround, I understand from other users that if you use the surround that comes with the Sony head unit that was fitted in the earlier MR2s, Roadsters, that will fit round there quite nicely. If you're using the one from the facelift head unit, you have to buy these little ears here, which are frankly bloody useless, and I ended up having to cut the brackets that you are supposed to fit those with off and super glued them in. So just bear that in mind, and that's not to do specifically with this head unit. It's just that the things that they used to buy to fill these gaps in just aren't very good, and they're all the same from all the manufacturers. I couldn't find a decent pair, so I just opted to cut the bracket off. So anyway, installation was pretty straightforward. I bought an adapter cable it's got a standard ISO socket on the rear, so that plugs with an adapter cable straight into the Toyota Loom, no problems at all. Connections on the back, GPS comes with the little dongle for that, external mic which it comes with, 2 USB stroke 3G dongle cables which it comes with. In fact, it comes with everything actually. There's no additional add-ons that you've got to get to this unit. It comes with a remote control as well, sort of. Just get out of the glove box and show you. Comes with this remote control. Not that I'm ever going to use it, but it does come with that. And for the money, very good. I think it's selling at the moment in the UK for £200. Don't bother trying to buy it cheaper abroad, and then for like £159, just order it from a UK supplier, because that's what I did. Bought it from abroad, and very recently, about 2 months later, got a nice letter through the door saying thank you very much, US £50 import fees. So from Inland Revenue. So just buy it from a UK supplier. The cost comes out the same, and for the money it is ridiculously well specified. Looking at the unit on the front, I think it's a 7-inch screen. It's a little bit reflective at the moment because I've left the protective screen on there because I'm doing other bits and bobs in the car, and if the screen gets hit I'd rather it scuff that. Not that I'm trying to do that, but you know what I mean. Screen's very bright, which you'll see in a moment. I'm not sure if it'll pick up very well on this. I'm recording this on my phone. On the unit here, just looking over here, just get it to focus in a bit better. There we go. The infrared pickup for the remote control, built-in microphone. I didn't bother installing the external microphone because that picks up fine. I tested it with phone calls and it was fine. You have like a hands-free mic which you can put on the A-pillar trim or on the dash or whatever. I found I didn't need to use it in the MR2, so no problem at all. Home button, back button, navigation button. You can specify, you download whatever navigation software you want via Play Store, and in the settings you can specify what program you use. You just hit that button and it loads it, so you haven't got to go through menus and things to load it. Push button on off with twisty volume control. And then down here behind this little flap here, you've got a micro SD card slot and a mini USB. Micro SD takes up to 32 gig. I've got a 32 gig card in there, and this comes with a little adapter cable to change it up to full size USB should you need it, and then unit reset button should you need it. I've had this unit in here now for I think about 3 months. I've not had a problem with it from the day it went in, and so I haven't had to do any resets, things like that. So let's turn the ignition on. So when the unit boots up, you can choose in the menu settings, which I'll show you later, manufacturer logo as it boots up. This is booting up from cold, but if you leave that, you can specify in the car how long it's left before it does actually boot up, and for example you can turn the ignition off and then 30 seconds later it will shut down. I don't know if you hear that. That's the screen I was on previously. How if I actually press the home button. The unit controls and powers the power aerial fine, no issues with that at all. Just plug straight in the rear, no adapters needed or anything like that. The keys here do illuminate, and I'll show you in the menu settings. You can change that to pretty much whatever colour that you want. This button takes you to the home screen. This here, not quite sure what I bother putting that because you've got that there. And this is essentially apps, the apps button. So we just go back to the home screen. Now one thing I will say is that the clock and the weather widget are hard coded to the ROM of this unit. So you cannot long press on these things and delete. It won't allow you to. So if that's a deal breaker for you, don't buy this unit. I was, to be honest, a little disappointed that they'd done that. However, it in no way detracts from how great this unit is for me. It really doesn't. If you don't like it, when you get in, just move it across. You know, you've got other home screen. There's 3 that I've got in there at the moment. I don't know whether you can have more, but you frankly don't need them. Same as any other Android thing, you can long hold and delete and move it around to wherever you want for your links. And you can put widgets as normal on these screens. It's just a startup home screen here. You cannot change this part. These icons along here, yes you can, but not these. So do bear that in It's got standard Android stuff, so Play Store, you can put any apps you like on there. It has got built-in Wi-Fi. It will connect, I think, where I've got it parked at the moment, which isn't as close to the house as it normally is, but parked on the drive. There we go, connected straight in there. It will connect to the house Wi-Fi, and I'm probably parked about I don't know, 15 metres away from the house, and I know the router's towards the back of the house, so picks that up fine. Well, it's a little bit weaker because it's further away, so you can do that. I have also got it tethered to the 4G on my phone. It doesn't use an awful lot of data, sort of just running around, and with the NavMe, which is the GPS software I use, it doesn't really use too much data, but if I wanted to, I've got, depending on what your data plan is, you can use it for that. It has Bluetooth built in. I haven't got this phone paired to it because the phone that I use has got a custom ROM which I've just upgraded, and they're having problems with the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth on this unit though is impeccable, and standard proper operating Android phones and other whatever phone you've got. I've tested it with about 5 different phones, and it linked straight in, no problem at all. It does find it. It's just that with I'm running a new Cyanogen mod ROM on my S4, and they're just having problems with the Bluetooth on that ROM at the moment, so it's not working, and hence it won't communicate properly with the head unit. But as I say, it's not a fault of the head unit, it's a fault of my phone. With the Bluetooth system on here, you can play music via it. It will go into contacts, make calls and all that kind of thing. My wife's phone, for example, she's got a standard Note 3, no problem at all, it's straight in there with no issues. So on the drag down thing here, we've got speed here. The speed button, that's a new one. The speed button there, I don't know if you saw down there, that kills any apps that are currently running. It's like an instant kill thing for if the unit starts to be running, it's dragging its feet and running slowly. I've never experienced that, and I never use that button. Generally when I'm driving along, I'll have power amp running to play music, I'll have my dashcam software recording in the background, and I'll be using the navigation software. It doesn't skip around or have any performance or lag issues. It just does what you need it to do, which is very good. So I'm pretty pleased about that. I'll just disconnect that. Standard stuff it comes with the radio. Just turn that right down. You can program all this stuff. You can scan. I don't really listen to the radio, so other than just quickly dialing it into a channel just to see what it was like, it operates fine. It isn't DAB though. Eonon do a add-on unit if you want DAB radio, but the unit doesn't have DAB built in. It's just sort of standard radio, but it works fine. So if you listen to a lot of radio, then that's all well and good. Let's see what other things it's comes with standard calculator and clock and calendars and all that kind of stuff. Has DVD player. It says no disc. Well, one thing I will say about that, this is, it's not flipped down front or anything. It does not have a CD player. I don't need a CD player, which is why I bought this one. I do buy CDs obviously, but I scan them to MP3 and then I stick them on a 32 gig USB drive, which is plugged into one of the USB cables which sits in the glove box. So if you're looking for a head unit that you want CD or DVD player on it, then look at they do other units that have that built in. I didn't want that. I didn't need it, so I didn't bother buying that. Let's see, what else does it come with? You got music software. I use Power Amp, but it does come with its own USB MP3 software. I think there's a video app somewhere here as well. Yeah. The video it's just immediately come up and playing is actually, the unit comes with a built-in dash cam or car record software, and this is where I was testing the recording. I bought this little camera there. Let's see if I just... It's not focusing very well, but you get the gist, and then the cable it's hardwired in. It's a USB camera. It's a I bought a copy of basically what is the Eonon GA2114. I think they retail that for about £40. I bought that one as a China special for a tenner. What I will say is either the official Eonon one or the one I bought for a tenner are not sort of 720p or 1080p. It doesn't matter what they say, they are not. Having said that, it is more than enough. If you were looking to you just want dash cam software to show some idiot crashing into you, and it's not my fault, Mr. Insurance Man, please don't claim off of me, it was his fault. This is more than enough. If I find a USB camera, because it's plugged into one of the USB sockets on the rear, if I find a better one, then I probably will upgrade it to an HD cam, but for the moment this is fine. Let's just bring that software up. It plays let's just find where I put the I'm sure I put some... I can't remember, I stored it anyway. It plays most video formats. If you want to watch films and that in your car, you can do that. The Bluetooth does work fine with talk. I've got one of the cheapy China Elm, I think it's 327 or something like that. Bluetooth OBD2 connectors. It works fine with that, no problem at all. Connects straight in, and you can run that live with it as well. Just trying to think what else. You got Play Store and Google Maps and the usual sort of Android type stuff. Going into settings, you got your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You can set it up to tether to your phone, or you can use. You're not going to use this as a portable hotspot probably, but this does tether to my phone fine. So I'm on the road. I am connected to the interwebs, as it were. Sound is what it is. You can have keytones, so every time you press a button it does that, which I find bloody annoying, so I turn that off. And the volume is just a slidey volume controller, which is the same as what that does. So that's that. Display, you can set the brightness of the display. Move this back a bit so I can get a bit closer. You can move the brightness of the display. There's two modes here. You can have it in light or this phone, because obviously it's compensating for the brightness between light and dark, is quite a lot different. I have it on light, so it's brighter generally, but that is quite bright at night. It is surprising how bright this unit is. with the roof down on the MR2 on a sunny day, you can see this unit no problem at all. Got no issue with being able to view it. I was a bit concerned about that. Element, this is for the illumination of these buttons here. So if you want it red, you can have it red. If you want it purple, that's it, finger's not working here, so you can have it blue, or you can change it to pretty much whatever colour that you want, and it will change the colour of those there. Screenshot setting, I'm not sure why you want a screenshot on here, but if you did, it tells you, where you want to save it and delay before you screenshot and stuff. Don't use that. Storage is standard Android Bluetooth stuff. The unit itself comes with I think it's about 16 gig, something like that, with the ROM and everything that's put on there. And they don't put an awful lot on there, to be fair. It's not like you buy your phone from whichever phone provider and they stick so much crap software on there and you can never get rid of it. They use you've got your car recorder and your MP3 and your video player and that kind of stuff, and that's pretty much all that they've put on there. But it leaves you about 12.5 gig left. But don't forget, you can add additional 32 gig there with the SD card, and an additional 2 32 gig USB drives. So if you need that level of storage, you can add it in. Apps is App Manager, same as any other Android system. Security, same sort of things to do with the security of the system. Backup and reset. Counts as normal. Date and time. GPS. The GPS module on this, I haven't had to put on the dash. It just lives behind the unit. It's magnetic, so I've just stuck it to the bulkhead behind the center console in the MR2, and it picks up fine. No problem at all. All of these would probably be right up the top. I hate clutter on the dashboard, so I haven't put it on the dash. It works fine back there, out the way, you can't see it. Comes with the unit, so it's free, works fine. You got location modes and that sort of thing, standard Android stuff. A nice touch on this is when your navigation software is giving you instructions, it fades down your music, gives you the instruction, fades the music back up, and you can adjust that as to how you want it to do that. I thought that was quite a nice touch, because in other cars where you have a navigation on the windscreen or whatever, a little unit, and then you've got your head unit playing music, one sort of fights the other, you quite often find, but it does work in tandem really neatly. Driving settings, you can force it to watch a video while you're driving. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to do that in an MR2, bit scary, to be honest. I've ticked the box, so well, actually I think it wasn't ticked from standard. I'll put a tick in the box, but it'll do that. You've got like reverse displays and things, which I'll actually, let's see if it'll do it without. No, because it takes a feed. It comes with a loud option there, and fade. You can sort of fade it left, right. Well, you've only got left and right in the MR2. But if you had, if you use the other two speaker outputs that you have off of the ISO socket on the back of this, you can fade it. You might want to put perhaps two speakers in the cubby storage bins behind the seats. Then you can fade it around. I obviously have it at the front there, and because I've only got the focals. Let's put it back where it was. Yeah, I've only got the focals in the front, and I've got a sub in the cubby, little self-powered sub. But I have to say that the built-in amplifier, this I've never found any head unit. I normally buy Kenwoods or Pioneers. Although they say 50 watts RMS, they never are. I think if they reach 30 watts RMS, you're lucky. The amplifier, built-in amplifier in this unit is comparable, or if not slightly better than the last Kenwood mask sort of type head unit I had, and the Pioneers. So yeah, I've got no issues. In actual fact, I didn't even bother amping up the focals. They're actually running off of the built-in amplifier, and I found that is fine, no problem with that at all. You do have the option to put in your steering wheel controls, audio controls. MR2 doesn't come with them as standard. I have though put one of those in, one of these Sony controllers. Cut the plug off the end. Then you have the 3 wires that are required to wire it into the 3 control wires that you've got on the back of this unit, and then you can program whatever key or button you like to do whatever you want, and that's really useful. I don't really like driving around fiddling around with buttons on units. I do like steering wheel controls, so I was pleased to be able to. Well, I bought the Sony on a bit of a whim to see if it'd work, because I wasn't sure if it would do, but yeah, it works fine. So if you want to do that mod, you know, that is available. Drop me a message and I'll help you out with that if you need it. Factory settings. Password is generic. Same with all of these units. It is 126. Okay, so this is where you can set your car logo. Mine's obviously Toyota for the MR2, but there are hundreds. I think there's about 100 and, I don't know, 20 something odd logos, so you can set your logo. These other things up here, this is to do with Bluetooth protocols and CAN bus and all kinds of stuff. I haven't really bothered with any of this. This is to do with the start volumes of what the system sets them at when you start each one up. I haven't bothered with that. I will say it does come with the Ipod cable you need to patch your iPod straight into the back of the unit. And then you got things like, you know, do you want to use the radio data system? Has it got a front camera? You can. I've got a rear camera plugged into this as a reverse cam. I've got the USB camera as a dash cam, but you can plug in a standard AV in camera as well. There is the connections for that. I don't tend to mess with any of this. I don't know what half of it is, to be honest, so I'm sure there'll be other people be able to tell you what they are. So overall, if something happened to this unit and it died tomorrow, would I buy another one? Yes, I would. The features that you get for about £200 are frankly amazing. I've never owned, and I've paid lots, hundreds of pounds in the past for head units. I do like a good stereo install. This is by far the best one I've ever had here. We've got a video here. So what's this? Too fast 7. Yeah, so yeah, overall very good. If you've got any questions about it that I haven't covered, drop me a line. I'll be happy to help you out, and that's it. Sorry for waffling on if I have done, but as I said, first review video ever. Thanks a lot. I've just realised I didn't show you the reverse cam. So even when the unit is booting up, so even when you've got the logo going and the unit's booted up, it will, even you'll put it into reverse, it will still come immediately up with the cam. You don't need to wait for it to boot up. So you put it in and the camera comes straight up. So one thing it does do, which interestingly was something I always did anyway, don't ask me why, probably because I'm a weirdo, I would always mute the stereo when I was reversing to pay attention to what I was doing. When you put it into reverse and the camera comes up, it mutes whatever you're playing. So if you're playing your MP3 or the radio or whatever, it does mute that and brings the camera up. And then when you take it out of reverse, you just see what happened there. It shuts the camera off and then it resumes the sound for your MP3 player or radio or whatever. So thanks.